Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So children, I'm back with a lesson in standard 10. Subject is English, and remember we had done half of a lesson last time in the video. So we had done lesson number 4.3, World Heritage Site, and when we did the first part of this lesson in the first video, we talked about all the facts and all the information which was there in this lesson for you. We talked about why the need to build this kind or set up this kind of a committee or set up this kind of an association was felt, and what work they do in order to protect the heritage sites. We also saw how many heritage sites are there around the world, how many are there in India, etc. If you want to review this lesson, you can please go back and watch the first video that I had put up on the lesson World Heritage. So this is part 2 of the lesson World Heritage, lesson number 4.3 from your textbook. And in this lesson, children, we will not dwell on the contents of the lesson, but we will go and see all the possible exercises that we could from the English workshop part. Now, one exercise we have already done last time, so let us move on and let us go to this next exercise, that is exercise 3 from your English workshop part. Now, if you have your textbook, you can come to page number 163, where we will be doing the more exercises from this lesson. Now children, exercise 1 from this is you have to answer certain questions. So those are comprehension questions, so you can read the lesson properly and try to answer all the questions which are there in that part. Okay, having said that, let us start by completing this particular web diagram where they have asked us why World Heritage Sites could be in danger. So pause the video for some time and try to fill in information. Think about this. Now you know a lot about World Heritage Sites and how we should preserve them, why we should preserve them, and what kind of steps are being taken to preserve them. Okay, we also read about the heritage cycle, remember, where we learned how we should understand these things so that we will care for it, we will be able to enjoy it. So think why these World Heritage Sites are in danger. One, they have already given us, due to war. So because of war, there is widespread destruction, use of weapons, etc., which could damage these World Heritage Sites. Apart from that, what are the reasons do you think? There could be poaching. Now, if it is animals, like for example, we have the Sundarban in Bengal, which is also a World Heritage Site. Poaching could happen in such places. Animals could be killed for their skin or for their various body parts, or just like that for fun. Hunting also people do. Pollution, you must have read in places that the color of the Taj Mahal was made up of pure white marble, but because of pollution in that particular area, the color is lightly changing. Okay, over a few years or over so many years, a color has started changing. So that is because of pollution. Then you could have natural disasters, like if there is a landslide which is occurring, or if there are earthquakes or floods, that could also endanger the World Heritage Sites. Apart from that, unchecked tourists, that is people who go and who do not have any awareness about the protection of these sites, they go and spoil the places. You must have seen that people write on stone if they go and visit a fort, or if they have gone to visit a temple or a palace. What do? Is they pick sharp objects and they try to write on the marble, etc., over there. So this causes a lot of danger to the World Heritage Sites. That is why you must have seen you're not supposed to touch anything in most of these places. You cannot go very close, and most of the things are protected. Then you will see urbanization. Urbanization means when people try to cut down forests, when they try to cut off the clear off the natural surroundings and build cities for us to live. That is a time when the World Heritage Sites could be in danger. Then littering. This is also connected to these unchecked tourists. You go to any beach, you will see people eat chips, they eat biscuits, they drink water from the plastic bottles, and they simply throw them around. So littering causes a lot of danger to the World Heritage Sites. And finally, you have earthquake, which could be a natural disaster, which spoils the World Heritage Sites. So these are the reasons why World Heritage Sites could be in danger today. We have many more exercises, children, like this. So now let's go to the next one, where it is again an exercise on comprehension. That is, if you read the contents of the text carefully and with understanding, you will be able to answer these questions. So come on, try to do it on your own and then come back and check with my answers. So choose the correct alternative and complete the given sentences. So Mount Huangshan is situated in, is it Japan, China or Philippines? It is China. The famous dam situated in Egypt on the river Nile is, remember we discussed about it, it is the Buzwa Dam, or is it the Rizwa High Dam, or is it the Aswan High Dam? It is the Aswan High Dam. What about the conference based on human environment? Where was it held? Was it held in Athens in Greece, Moscow in Russia, or Stockholm in Sweden? It was held in Stockholm in Sweden. We also saw the dates when we read those particular pieces of information. So it was held in the year 1972 in Stockholm in Sweden. Let's move on and let's do the next exercises here, next questions here. So the highest number of World Heritage Sites are located in. Now children, when we looked at the figures or when we saw the data, I told you that the data in the textbook is a little outdated. It is from 2009. We looked at the latest data, that is data connected to June 2020, available for June 2020. So according to that, we have Italy and China. But here if you go according to the text, then you have Italy. The highest number of World Heritage Sites are located in Italy. Okay, come on, look at the next one and see whether you know the answer. Dash can delete, exclude a site from the World Heritage list. So who can do it? Is it the World Heritage Committee? It is the World Peace Committee or the World Health Committee? It is a very obvious answer. It is the World Heritage Committee. The World Peace Committee and Health Committee has got nothing to do with the heritage. The last question here, the tenure of the World Heritage Committee is it 4 years, 5 years or 6 years? It is 6 years. Okay, so this was exercise 4 from your textbook English workshop part. We will try and do as many exercises as possible. Come on, let's come to the next one where you have to match the pairs to define the different roles of the World Heritage Site. So once you are able to do this exercise, that means you have understood about the working and about the role of the World Heritage Site. Now this is a direct, you can say, image of your textbook, children. There are certain little spelling mistakes, so we will ignore them, okay, because we know what the right spellings are. So see, we have a side A and a side B. So identifying cultural and natural sites. So who does that? Or why do we do that? Sites which are of outstanding universal value across countries. Okay, so these are the roles of the World Heritage Site. This is what the World Heritage Site does. Okay, they identify the cultural and natural sites which are of importance universally across nations. Identify sites of special importance for everyone. Identify sites that represent best examples of world's cultural and or natural heritage. Point number 4. UNESCO seeks to preserve outstanding sites and natural resources. So it is a kind of a controlling body. It is a kind of a monitor, you can say, which wants to preserve the outstanding sites. World Heritage Sites should have relevant development plan policies. So how you can make it better, how you can attract more tourists. Okay. The 6th one, World Heritage should protect these sites. World Heritage Site serve as an asset for economic development and investment. See, the spelling of asset here is wrong. It is A-S-S-E-T. It is a printing mistake. Okay, so we will ignore it. Then the 8th one, World Heritage Site should ensure what? That there are a lot of tourists going there, so that there can be economic development, there can be investment, there can be employment for the people who live there. Okay, it should at large develop what? Green, local based, stable and decent, you can say, things or resources. Okay, so these are the answers where we found out what are the roles of the World Heritage Sites. That is, what do they do? What do they aim at doing? Okay, so this was question number 5 from your textbook. Let us move on and look at the next one from your English workshop part, where you have to look at the words and their meanings, and you have to try and choose the correct alternative. Now, in some cases, the meanings might be confusing, whereas in some cases they might be very obvious. So let us look at the first one. So determine means what? Determine means to think over something, or to decide, or to ask for, or to look over. So determine means to decide. Very simple, isn't it? What about monument? So monument means a statue, a pillar, a memorial, or a fort. Monument is a memorial. Okay. Significant. So is the meaning of significant clever, effective, systematic, or important? Significant means important. Finally, disaster means what? So is disaster a problem, or is it an incident or a calamity or an accident? It is not a problem, it is much above or much more than a problem. So it is a calamity. Okay, so see children, this is a exercise based on vocabulary. So this is a vocabulary exercise. Alright, let us move on, and now let us go to some grammar exercises where you have to use and change the format of these sentences, and you have to use the words not only but also. Okay, so see the first sentence over here. Try to figure out the answers yourself by pausing the video. I keep repeating this myself. I go on repeat mode and say this up before every question. So please try to do it. Okay. UNESCO and the International Council on Monuments initiated a draft convention to create an international organization responsible for protecting cultural heritage. It's a big sentence. You have to change the sentence, and you have to rephrase it, and you have to use these phrases not only and but also in the new sentence. So see, very simple. The first one is not only UNESCO but also the remaining part of the sentence you copy. So let me read it once again for you. Not only UNESCO but also the International Council on Monuments initiated a draft convention to create an international organization responsible for protecting cultural heritage. Simple, isn't it? But all the questions may not be that simple. Come to the next one. The state parties are responsible for identifying and nominating new sites. So how will you use not only and but also over here? The state parties are responsible for not only identifying but also nominating new sites. So see, we have meaning of the sentence is the same. We have only rephrased it using a different phrase. Okay? Moving on, there are two more sentences to be done over here. Opera House in Australia and the Historic Center of Vienna in Austria are cultural sites of World Heritage. So again, you have to use not only and but also over here. So come on, let's try. Not only Opera House in Australia, but also the Historic Center of Vienna in Austria are cultural sites of World Heritage. Okay, so see, we have not made much difference in the sentence. We have just added these two phrases. The last one, World Heritage Sites can also be a combination of both cultural and natural areas. So, World Heritage Sites can also be a combination of not only the cultural but also of the natural areas. So children, this was exercise 10A, where we rewrote certain sentences. Rewrote. We did not change the meaning, okay? We just rephrased the sentences. Again, we come to another exercise, that is 10B, where you have to again rewrite sentences. You have to replace, okay, as well, and you have to see, you have to rewrite the sentences replacing as well as by no sooner than. So wherever there is as well as, then you must write the no sooner than over there. So as soon as the bill is passed, it will become an act. So what should we do over here? In the rephrasing, that is when you rewrite this sentence, this as soon as should not come over there. It should not appear there. So then what should be seen there? Which words or which phrase? No sooner than should be written there in place of as soon as. So come on, let us figure out how we could do this. So as soon as the bill is passed, it will become an act. So no sooner is the bill passed than it will become an act. So you can see how we have added no sooner and also than. Okay, moving on. As soon as the thief escaped, the family informed the police. No sooner did the thief escape than the family informed the police. So see here, we have a note here which I did not read in the beginning, but now I would like to read it. The phrase no sooner must always be followed by an auxiliary verb, they have said. So see, have we done it? Yes, we have. No sooner is the bill passed. No sooner did the thief escape. Okay, so we have used auxiliary words over here. Moving on, there are three more examples. As soon as you have finished, you can submit your answer papers. No sooner have you finished than you can submit your answer papers. So see, again we have used an auxiliary verb here, isn't it? As soon as they can manage, they should change their house. No sooner can they manage than they should change their house. The last one. As soon as the bell will ring, the school assembly will start. No sooner will the bell ring than the school assembly will start. So this is how we have rewritten the sentences by replacing as soon as well as or as soon as by no sooner than. Okay? So this was exercise 10B. Now if you turn the pages, you will come to exercise 11. Now in exercise 11, we are going to talk about three kinds of sentences. There is an exercise based on simple sentence, complex sentence, and compound sentence. So before we solve the exercise, let us try and understand the meaning of these types of sentences. So we are going to look at three types of sentences today: the simple sentence, complex sentence, and compound sentence. So remember children, all along when we learnt about types of sentences, we have been learning that sentences can have two parts. One is the main clause or the independent clause, and the second one is the subordinate clause. So here also you will see how these clauses are used and how we have different types of sentences. So let us look at the first one, a simple sentence. So what is a simple sentence? A simple sentence is a sentence which contains one independent clause and it doesn't have any dependent or subordinate clause. Okay? So very simple. A simple sentence has got just one independent clause. So independent clause itself can be called as a simple sentence. There is no other, you can say, complication over there. There is just one independent clause in a simple sentence. Let us look at some examples. I think you will be clear with it. So before that, there is just one independent clause or one main clause with no dependent clause. So you have just one independent clause in a simple sentence. That is why an independent clause is also sometimes called as a simple sentence. Look at these examples. I come, or you can say I came. The boy cried. Canada is a rich country. The girl ran into her bedroom. Some students like to study in the morning. All these sentences, the first one has got just two words, second one has got three, third one has got five, and the number of words are increasing. But remember, there is just one subject and one predicate. Okay, there is just one verb here. That is why they are called as a simple sentence. So come on, read these sentences once again and try and understand the meaning of a simple sentence. Okay, come on, let's move and look at the next kind of sentence, which is a complex sentence. So, complex sentence is a sentence that contains one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Remember, we are saying one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. So there could be more than one also, but there will be at least one. That means a complex sentence has got both kind of clauses. It has got an independent clause also and a dependent clause also. Okay? See, while I'm a passionate basketball fan, I prefer football. So this is a complex sentence. There is an independent clause here. I prefer football is an independent clause. It has got complete meaning. I prefer football. There is a dependent clause also. While I am a passionate basketball fan. Now this part of the sentence does not have any complete meaning. If the second part is not there, I prefer football is not there, the first part of the sentence is left hanging in the air. There is no definite meaning to it. Okay? So this is an example of a complex sentence. Let us look at one more example. You will definitely lose if you don't try. So you will definitely lose is the independent clause. It has got complete meaning. It doesn't need support from anything else. If you don't try is the dependent clause here. So see, in these examples, you have one dependent clause and one independent clause. So these are examples of a complex sentence. Once again, so a complex sentence has an independent clause and it has got a dependent clause also. Let us take some more information about complex sentences now. Now, a dependent clause in a complex sentence always begins with a subordinate conjunction. A subordinate conjunction means after, although, because, before, and these kind of words. Conjunction, it joins the two parts of the sentences together. Okay? See? I washed the car after I came home. Okay, so I washed the car after I came home. He went to see a doctor because he was sick. So because he was sick doesn't have any meaning if you do not have he went to see a doctor. Even though she was late, she managed to complete the assignment. So now you know which is the main clause, you know which is the dependent clause. Okay, so when there is a main clause and one or more than one dependent clauses in a sentence, then it is an example of a complex sentence. Moving on to the third one. Now this is very simple. Compound sentences, if you have understood what a simple sentence is, then compound sentences are very easy. A compound sentence means where there are two independent clauses, or in short, when there are two simple sentences put together, then it is a compound sentence. So both the parts of the compound sentence has got complete meaning. Okay? See, there are two independent clauses and conjunctions join these two independent clauses. Sometimes conjunctions, sometimes a comma. So conjunctions like for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Conjunctions like these join the two independent clauses and they make it one big sentence, and this sentence is called as a compound sentence. Let us look at some examples. My mother washed the vegetables, then, so this is the conjunction joining the two main clauses. She cut them into little pieces. So look at these two independent clauses here. My mother washed the vegetables has got complete meaning. It is an independent clause. She cut them into little pieces has got complete meaning. It is an independent clause. And together it is a compound word. It's a compound sentence, sorry. My mother washed the vegetables, then she cut them into little pieces. The next one, the bell rang and the music began. So the bell rang, independent clause number 1, and conjunction, the music began, independent clause number 2. Example 3, I went there but I couldn't find him. Independent clause number 1, I went there, conjunction, but I couldn't find him, independent clause number 2. Alright, so these are all examples of compound sentences. So children, we looked at the meaning of simple sentences, complex sentences, and compound sentences here in short. Now let us try and solve the exercise which is given in our textbook. So you have to identify whether the sentences are simple. Simple means one subject and one predicate, or complex. Complex means one main clause and one or more dependent clauses, or compound. Compound means combination of two or more independent clauses. Okay, so now you understood what the idea of simple, complex, and compound sentences are. So come on, look at this sentence and tell us whether it is a simple one, a complex one, or a compound one. They vary in type. but they include forests, monuments, etc. This is a compound sentence. They vary in type. First independent clause, but is the conjunction. They include forests, mountains, etc. is the second independent clause. The mountain is significant because of its characteristics. Complex sentence. The mountain is significant is the independent clause. Because of its characteristics is the dependent clause. The next one, to protect the temples and artifacts, UNESCO launched an international campaign. What kind of sentence is it? It is a simple sentence. If the site meets with this criteria, it can be inscribed on the World Heritage List. It is a complex sentence. There are 890 World Heritage Sites that are located in 148 countries. It is a compound sentence. Okay? So this was the exercise based on the types of sentences. Now this brings us to the last exercise in our book, where we have to write a flow chart on how any part or any landmark or any site in a country can become a World Heritage Site. Now remember children, we have done this particular exercise in another way when we did the first video. So I'm sure you will be knowing the answers. Even then, let me give you the answers. Let us see. So first part will be taking an inventory, inclusion of the name of the site for the nomination in a list after an inventory in the city or country. So nomination list, your name, your site has to come up in the nomination list. And then you have inclusion of the name of the site in the tentative list. Okay. Then you move on and you do the review is done by the 2 advisory committees. We saw that there is not 1 but 2 advisory committees which do a review of whether this place can really become a natural or World Heritage Site. Okay. After both these committees, that is both these advisory bodies, that is the International Council on Monuments and Sites and the World Conservation Union, after they make their recommendations, the final step is decision of the World Heritage Committee after review of the nominated file. Okay. So children, this brings us to the end of this lesson. Now, like we discussed at the beginning of the first video, this was a rather long lesson children, and that is why we had to do 2 videos in order to complete this lesson. And the information also here was very important, and it was not something which we could just leave out. So that is why we discussed most of the facts in detail in the first video, and here in the second video we did so many exercises from the English workshop part, and we did exercises on vocabulary, we did exercise based on the content of the lesson, and we also did exercises based on grammar. So that is all in this lesson children. That is lesson number 4.3, World Heritage. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.